Hi, I'm Mads, and ever since I was 5 years old, I've created fake mons. And it's time to remake them all. Join me to create the Hydonso region. So this line of Pokémon were originally made in 2001, and starting out is MONEYFUNNY. It is obviously a banknote, but I always liked this mischievous nature, and this is actually one of the lines that I have remade the most, except for the starters. And over the years you can see me experimenting with movement in its character design. And movement is very important for this design, since it's such a flat Pokemon. It needs to have that dynamic in it, which I absolutely love. And here you can see I actually make a very dynamic pose that I actually end up changing and going back to an earlier sketch that I made, just because I felt it was too dynamic, and for some reason I felt it lost some of its character, so I went back to an earlier sketch. I'm much more happy with how this turned out, and I felt like the character's personality shines through, and it's still dynamic but not too much that it takes away the character itself. MONEYFUNNY, the money Pokemon. It's a dark flying type. This is the Dex entry. There is a rumor that MONEYFUNNY was created when a trainer forced this Ditto to transform into money, and then he used it, leaving it behind, causing the Ditto to be corrupted and permanently stuck as money, thus the birth of MONEYFUNNY. It is observed that it can transform into any currency from any country around the world. It is a very popular Pokemon among criminals. MONEYFUNNY is actually a pun on Moneypenny from James Bond. In terms of colors, as you can see, it's very cartoony colors for money. So for its shiny, I decided the colors would be more realistic rather than cartoony. So what do you think about MONEYFUNNY? Let me know in the description below. And let's move on to its evolution. MONEYFUNNY evolves into MONARD at level 25 when it learns Payday. Much like MONEYFUNNY, MONARD hasn't really changed that much over the years. Its concept have stayed pretty much the same, but as you can see, the patch on the cheek turns into MONEYFUNNY in its later designs. Again, much like MONEYFUNNY, I'm playing around with different concepts that I actually end up changing again later in this video. Playing around with different positions to further highlight its character. Even playing around with taking its design further and using its rope as arms. It's a very expressive Pokemon, MONARD, and I enjoy drawing different faces, but eventually I ended up with redrawing its old pose. I wanted to experiment to see if I actually could use much more teeth-like movements for its baggy body. However, I end up using an old sketch where its rope arms are featured and where I'm quite happy with its stance. I'm playing around with a typical teeth mask that you see in cartoons, but it doesn't really work out, so I make sure that the outline of its eyes kind of capture the same vibe. MONARD, the money bag Pokemon. Dark ground. MONARD attack in large group to steal items from trainers. It hides its treasure within its own body. However, it has a problem with getting so full that its skin will tear apart. Its solution is often to catch and attach MONEYFUNNY to patch itself up. MONARD carefully follows orders from its boss SAFEMONEY. However, it will try to hide some treasures from its boss. Its shiny form is nothing special, it's just a little bit darker bag and probably more realistic color for rope, and of course the same colors for MONEYFUNNY is present in its design. What do you think about MONARD? Let me know in the comments. There is two ways you can evolve MONARD. One of them is with the use of metal coat and level up. Holding it, it will turn into SAFEMONEY, the money safe Pokemon. And as you can see, it's just a face on a safe with a hat and a cigarette. Over the years I decided to give it arms so it actually can move around more, but also use its arms as weapon. So when I decided to remake it, much like its pre-evolutions, my main focus was on a dynamic pose. And for this design it was important to show how it would move around using its arms. I'm very satisfied with how the arms turned out, because I feel like its arms show the weight of its body. I was thinking about removing the cigarette, but then I was like, hey, this is my version of Pokemon, so hey, why not? And I'm not normally a fan of Pokemon wearing clothes, but you know, the hat has been there from the very beginning and it just fits so well. I feel like all these design choices really highlights that it's based on a mafia boss. And if I were to remove its hat and cigarette, it would really lose its character. And of course, since it has been a staple in all the designs so far, MONEYFUNNY is obviously a part of its design, showing up in the hat this time. Its design reminds me of the rubber hose animation, and I could really see it moves in a similar way as that animation style. SAFEMONEY, the money safe Pokemon. Dark Steel. SAFEMONEY often leads hordes of MONARD and PIGCHING to steal items. SAFEMONEY rules with an iron hand and will even attack MONARD and PIGCHING if they don't follow his orders. He will keep his most valuable possessions inside of himself and use his hands as firearms in order to protect himself and his treasure. Safes comes in many different colors, and I decided to go with the black color for its shiny with gold outlines. The gold representing that this is a wealthy mafia boss, and the black with a combination of the gold just looks really cool and makes the perfect shiny in my opinion. So what do you think about SAFEMONEY? Do you like it? Let me know. Back in 2013, SMDK fan over at DeviantArt asked a great question. And the question was, is there a difference between the genders? And up until that point, I considered them all to be genderless, until I got this idea. If MONARD is a female and holds an amulet coin while evolving, it will turn into PIGCHING, the piggy bank Pokemon. I quickly come up with this idea inspired by the flying pig in combination with a piggy bank to use the banknotes as wings. I made sure to have the style similar to its line, and here we are. Since it's quite new in comparison to its evolution line, its original design works very well. All I really wanted to touch upon was the colors, because I felt like the colors was too murky and there was too many different colors that I used. I'm very pleased with the result because I feel like it looks like a pig but also goes straight into this Pokemon line and just represent what this line has been and has become so far. It also became my first ever fairy type Pokemon, because up until 2013 the fairy type didn't exist. And by the way, I made it dark fairy before the Impidimp line got that typing. PIGCHING, the piggy bank Pokemon. Dark fairy type. It disguised itself looking like a normal piggy bank. It will stay like this until it's full and then flee away with all the money collected. When SAFEMONEY tells them to do a robbery, they will attack from the sky while MONARD attack from the ground. Its shiny colors are just a different color that piggy banks sometimes have, blue. MONEYFUNNY here, being wings, has a little bit darker green than in the other shinies so far. This was just because it looked better. So what do you think about Pidgeing? Do you like it? Let me know in the comments below. So what do you think about my money Pokemon? Who's your favorite of these 4 Pokemons? MONEYFUNNY, MONARD, Pidgeing or SAFEMONEY? And can you guess what the next episode will be about? Thank you so much for watching and see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye!